everyone, I'm Sanaya, and welcome back to Culture Soul, where culture and soul unite. Today, I am here with a very special guest by the name of Sidney Brown, so everyone please give a round of applause for our special guest today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. So Sidney, please give us a brief bio about yourself before we get started.
Well, quick things about myself. I'm Sidney Brown. I'm from Hendersonville, North Carolina. I'm a mass communications major with emphasis in multimedia journalism at Bethune-Cookman University. I'm 21 years old. That's a quick synopsis on me.
Okay, and just tell us a little bit about what you plan on doing after graduation.
After graduation, I'm currently I'm waiting an offer to do an internship with NASCAR.
Okay.
I currently have an internship with the Ford City Owls baseball team, but the plan is when NASCAR offers me, that's where I plan to head for the summer.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get started. What first attracted you to come to Bethune-Cookman University, and were you always interested in being a mass comm major?
What attracted me, main thing was the band, because I'm in the band.
Right.
You know, that's one thing that I factored when I was looking around at schools, because I looked at North Carolina A&T, I looked at South Carolina State because my dad went there.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at Hampton and everything. So as far as Bethune-Cookman, it was definitely the band. I have a cousin that went here as well. He told me about it. And as far as like being a mass comm major, yes, I always wanted to be one. But at first, I thought I wanted to be in digital production, but then I switched my emphasis because I kind of like being a writer, and I like being behind the camera as well as, well, not behind, well, in front of the camera as well. So I definitely wanted to like explore the radio side, the TV side, and everything. So ultimately, I knew this is what I wanted to do from the beginning.
Okay, very good. So I know challenges and obstacles come with everything that you do. So which experiences truly motivated you and inspired you to stay in mass comm?
Which experience? Definitely, I would definitely say more so on a personal side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you know I've had doubters, particularly my mother. You know, ever since I was a kid, really, she used to say I was like weird and abnormal and things like that. And you know, a lot of times thought I would fail and everything. So and when I figured, I wanted to find like my skill for what my main skill was. So it was, well, I figured out, hey, I can write really well.
Right.
But you know, I used to be scared to talk and everything. So I wanted to like really, I wanted to be able to really know how to communicate well so I could be the best I could. As far as challenges, it's just sometimes doing the things I do and being in marching band and everything else. My mom has doubted it a lot. Now I have had my dad and I real tight, real close and everything. So that's the thing that's really been my saving grace, just for all my things. You know, probably more so my challenges have been mainly this year. You know, I've had a lot going on at once. So the main challenge is trying to juggle many things at once, because I'm wanted in multiple different directions, whether it's at the radio station, whether it's here, whether it's with USA, whether it's USA Basketball, whether it's with the NHL, whatever. So that's the only challenges I would really say I've had. Mainly it's just like trying to figure out, okay, which one, and trying to find the best option. And sometimes it means you have to turn down a lot of other good options as well. So I would say that's my main challenges with that, and then of course my personal life with my mom.
Okay. So I know that you're involved with the Brown Report. You're also involved with Sidney Brown Studios and the SB Mindset. So how exactly did you make a name for yourself on campus and get everything off the ground?
I knew the best way, if I didn't do it with the intent to make a name for myself. I just wanted to be myself, and then,
Right.
When I try to be around people, I want them to see someone that really cares about what I'm doing, as well as caring about the people, because I don't do this for me. I don't do Sidney Brown Studios, my YouTube with my vlogs and everything. I don't do the Brown Report for me. It has my name on it, but that's not who I'm talking to. Yeah, I'm in a booth talking to myself. It is weird sitting there. You got a big freaking soundproof wall there, and you just talking to yourself. But I'm trying to do what is. I'm trying to be the voice for the people, because a lot of people are not. You know, a lot of people are scared to maybe speak out in public or speak for the people. So I'm that person. And as far as the SB Mindset, I started that because of a lot of kids in my community. You know, a lot of them are getting led astray by some other figures that I know, whether they graduated with me, whether they're in the city or whatever else, and bad influences. So I really started that because I knew a lot of them look up to me. And you know, so I wanted to like say real things, and not just for them, but they were the main target, but even my own peers, to be like, hey, like, we really have to do better in how we move about, because I mean, we are the next generation coming up. So it's just like, I don't want to be somebody that goes off to college, coming from a small town, and I come back with nothing. I feel like at that point I would have failed my community, because I would feel like I failed all the kids that have looked up to me, because when you have a lot of kids that are watching you and everything else, you always want to like do things for them naturally. When I go back home, I'm rarely at the house. I like going up to the high school. And when they see these things and they want to follow in my footsteps and see that, hey, you know, a black kid, particularly the black kids, because I come from a predominantly white area. So it's like when I can show those young black kids that, hey, a young black kid from a predominantly small town in North Carolina can go off to a school, and now he's making a name for himself, and he's working with some of the top people in the country as well. So it's to influence them, because I want them to do better than me.
Okay. So I know that you're a member of one of the greatest HBCU bands. Yeah. So as a member of the band, how has that shaped you as a soon-to-be HBCU grad?
Oh man, I thought I was disciplined before, but it didn't increase until I got under the direction of Donovan Wells and Mr. Portier and all the other people in the marching band. Being in marching band is like, ever since my freshman year, coming in as a, you know, very new, not knowing what to do, I've came a long way. I mean, I came in as the weakest link of the freshmen, and then I'm one of the stronger players. So it's just, it's something that's taught me, especially about patience. I had to earn my way in the field, because I didn't march my first game, but I was determined to get on the field, and I did, and I've never missed a game since. So it definitely taught me to be like, hey, you know, to never give up, because there were some days that freshman year I'm like, man, I don't want to do this no more. It's like, you know, you're out there late at night, you're out there till 11, 12 o'clock at night, you're marching up and down the field, you playing and everything, and it's just like, man, I can't play no more. It's like, it really exerted a lot of effort out of me that I didn't realize I had. They really taught me that, hey, no, you got plenty left in the tank, you need to empty it. So if anything it taught me was how to empty the tank, not just on the field, but just in life, and meaning just give your best effort. That's what Mr. Wells says all the time. Give your best effort, or else you're doing it again. He's like how he jokes all the time, says, well, you know, I paid y'all scholarship money, so I will get a return on my investment. So that's how I kind of treat life now. It's just like, okay, I'm putting my all into it, and you know, I have to give that return of investment, especially when I have people that want me to be a part of their program or want me to be a part of their organization. I realize now that, hey, to represent like top brands and stuff like that, or like represent a top HBCU band, there is work that comes with it. It's an honor and a privilege, but you know, it doesn't come without the work.
Okay. So how are you able to juggle being a band member, a student, and have so much going on for yourself?
Oh, that's a good question. I get asked that. I get asked that all the time. I just say God, because I'm like, I sometimes even wonder, like, even when I put a schedule together, I still wonder, like, dang, I'm like, how am I going to get all this done? Because it's like, you think you have a certain time frame, but some things always go over and everything. But I just think that it naturally falls into place, because I think God has me where He wants me to be. And if God didn't think that I could do multiple things at once, He wouldn't give me all the tasks that He gives me and everything else. He wouldn't have granted me all the opportunities, because He, you know, I haven't gotten every single opportunity I applied for. Of course, that's unrealistic. But with everything I have, I mean, I think the Lord just has special plans for me. I mention Him all the time, because I think He's the center of my life. I mean, when I really go about doing all these things, I always seek His guidance, because it's easy for me to say, like, dang, Lord, I don't know how, you gave me a lot, I don't know if I can do this. But He always gives me that reassurance, because then He'll add something else, and I'm like, dang, you know, like, you already had like 4 things, and then He's adding something else. So it's just like, it's Him saying, you can do the work. I mean, you know, and He gave me multiple different talents. You know, it says in the Bible that everyone, you know, He gives everyone a gift, at least one gift. So I've just been blessed with multiple, and I want to use them in the best ways possible. And you know, as far as how do I juggle all that, so I just give all the credit to Him, because I can't do it all by myself. And then I have a good support system as well. Sometimes I can get overloaded, or I can overload myself, and I have people that say, hey, maybe you just need to dial it back, because I work real hard sometimes. That's a flaw of mine. I can work very, very hard, and I want to do this, this, and this, and I got to realize I have to sometimes lighten my load so I can have enough strength and like enough like sleep. Because sometimes I lack sleep and average one time I was averaging like 2 or 3 hours a night of sleep because of how much I was doing, especially last year, and how hard and how hungry I was. But then I realized, well, if I overwork myself, then I'm not going to be at my best performance. So that's how juggling it is, you know, knowing when to say no to certain things as well.
That was a very great answer. What top 3 tips would you give your younger self coming into college?
Come out of my shell quicker, for one. I came in very, very shy. At times I still can be, but I mean, it's hard to tell now. But I can say, you know, I mean, freshman year I was afraid. You know, I think as any little freshman coming all the way from North Carolina to here, even though my mother lives here and I'd been familiar with Florida, I was like, you know, I'm like, dang, I'm one of the only kids from Carolina. I'm not really gonna fit in here and all that. And then I guess to my second point, don't worry about fitting in. And you know, if I would have realized that, I realized that really after my sophomore year that, hey, there's a reason why the Lord made me different. I truly believe that. Even though, as I said earlier, my mom may call me weird and abnormal. Maybe I am, but not in a bad light. I just think that what I learned is that people like different people. I think when people believe that, oh, you have to be a certain way and everything else, you're not considered unique. So when people consider you unique, some people may mean it as an insult, but it's actually more so of a compliment because then they can't figure you out per se. And so it's obviously better being that way because the Lord also says don't conform to the world either. So that's the main things I would look for. And I guess a third tip, just being careful who you hang around. I've been fairly good at that, but you know, I wish I would have learned that a little bit more freshman year. You know, because you know, I didn't like get in no trouble or anything like that, but you know, I had some people around me that were. You know, that and it wasn't, and I didn't know until later and everything. They knew how to hide things pretty well, but you know, I was able to learn things pretty quickly because like when you're trying to get to a certain place in life, when you're trying to get to elevate yourself, some people just ain't gonna come with you.
Absolutely.
And you know, I think I was trying to lift up some people that just wanted to stay on the ground, and that's the main thing I've had to learn. Like I'm one of them type of people. Like I want to ascend to the top. But if it was up to me, I want to bring everybody, like especially that's in my life with me. Even some family members, I like, hey, you know, you love them to death, but you gotta leave them behind. It's not that you want to, and, you know, and sometimes you try to give opportunities, but if they just holding you down, it's just like, well, I gotta leave you down. I gotta keep going, and it hurts. Don't get me wrong, but now I think what I've learned, what I would teach myself is that, you know, it's okay to do that sometimes, especially when you've tried. Now, I don't believe in just leaving people high and dry. I don't believe in that. But it's like when you've tried, some people just, no matter how hard you try, there's no point in beating a dead horse.
Right.
No point.
I'm loving these answers. Thank you. So in what ways were you able to face your fears and obstacles to be so outgoing in your major?
Definitely, the main person was Mr. Walker, Mr. Glenn Walker. I never thought I was going to do radio. The Brown Report does not exist without Mr. Walker, and of course Mr. Harold Ford, that's the operations manager at WELE. They're the main two. I met both of them. I met in my junior year, so last year.
Okay.
And you know, and just the radio has allowed me to really to be me. Now I would say that the radio is a censored version of me because I really want to go deep, but I can't, you know, because you know I only have a limited amount of time, and I know there's certain things you can't say and whatever. But you know, I walk. Mr. Ford would say I walk a fine line. Like I'm right on the line. if I could cross the line, I could, but you know, on the radio you gotta walk the line a little bit. But as far as definitely those two, of course, Mr. Chris Shaw, who I know is watching this right now. Definitely since freshman year, since I met him and everything, he's always motivated me as well, whether it was the way I dress, whether it was the way I walk or talk or whatever. He said, it's okay to be like that, you know, and some people are not gonna like it and some people are gonna be coming for you, but it's okay. That means you're doing something right. And so, and you know, definitely Miss Clements, Miss Kimia Clements, that when I was doing TV production, it was last year I was doing TV production. I didn't realize how good of a writer I could be until she asked me to be the writer of a show, because I had been just doing writing sports. That's all I thought about. All I'm thinking, okay, sports are my thing. That's all I want to talk about. But then when I realized, wait a minute, I can write for a show too. Like, you know, and I didn't realize like how much fun I would have doing this. So the way I was able to be more outgoing is when I had to put myself out there. They were there wanting to help me. And now, especially now in the fall, I couldn't really do anything because I was with band a lot.
Right.
But in the springtime, they were waiting on me. They said, well, we can't do anything with you in the fall, but as soon as you're in the spring, we coming for you. We want you there. We want you there. And I think with them getting me to do a whole bunch of things outside of my comfort zone, that's what got me the way I am now. Because as I said, I'm just a shy kid from North Carolina that drives a Toyota. I'm nothing special. That's it. That's literally it. So it definitely, if it wasn't for them, I probably would have still been in my shell and everything else. Even looking people in the eyes, I used to hate doing that. Like, I used to hate looking people in the eyes. Like how I'm looking at you right now. I used to be all up looking this way and all that way. I don't really do that much anymore. And I would give thanks to those people for that. I can't credit myself for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So do you believe that all of your achievements and experiences here at this university have truly prepared you for your life after graduation?
I think they have. It's also taught me a lot about adversity. I know I talk about the good things, but definitely the bad things too, because with every place comes good and bad.
Right.
And whether it's, I'm not just talking about financial aid and everything. Trust me, they had me in a chokehold a couple of times, but just in general, I think that's what college prepares you for. And it's not just the teachers and everything, it's just all the other students around as well, because, you're going to meet a whole lot of different people. You're going to meet and they're all different, they have their own ideas, and there are going to be a lot of people that try to influence you, but that's how the world is. I mean, the world is full of a bunch of crazy ideas, a bunch of crazy things, a bunch of crazy people that will try to bring so many different mindsets. They'll even try to change your mindsets and try to stray you away from your morals and stuff like that. And a lot of times, there are people here at college that do that. I mean, it taught me that, not everybody has home training. Not everybody is disciplined. Some people are just flat out just bad people. I would say another word, but, I'm on camera, but, but, that's what I've learned. I mean, and that's how the world is. The world is, and particularly not, they're not as lenient, obviously, with people that look like us. So that's one thing. But being at a HBCU, I like this is where you call home, because it's like, it's a bunch of us and everything. Now, we have problems within our own community, but that's another thing I learned, because, it also teaches me that we have to continue to unite, because if we don't get better as a people, like within ourselves, I mean, we're gonna have a hard time really fighting the war that we already have anyway. And that's one thing it taught me as well too, like, we still have some work to do in-house so we can be stronger to face the world, because
Right.
It's not going to get any easier. I literally had to do my radio show today was about, an incident that happened when I was in Vegas, a racist incident when me and my group were trying to show our staff pass and everything else, and the guy said it didn't matter. And I knew it had to be because we were black. And it's a whole bunch of things, but what being here teaches you that's going to happen, but don't let that stop you. Because, as I said, you have a vice president of the United States that went to HBCU. So it's just like when you have some of the best people in government, just in general, some of the best ever athletes, some of the best singers and everything, some of them went to HBCU. So that teaches me that a HBCU is probably the best, I would say is the best place for a black person to go to get an education rather than a PWI. Now, someone can learn that at PWI, but I think, I came to Bethune-Cookman as a boy. And now I'm a man as I walk out. That's how I see it.
So lastly, I want to ask, what steps would you encourage young freshmen coming into college to do in order to be as successful as possible?
You mean like as they coming from high school? Or
Yeah,
as they get here?
As they're coming in from high school, what steps would you encourage them to take?
What steps I encourage them to take? I would say be realistic with themselves. Because, some people come in with their, that college is all glamorous. And trust me, as I say, because, people, they're away from home for the first time, and I know you see everything. I get it, you want to go out to all the parties and everything else. Yes, go out and have fun. I encourage that. But I say you got to be about your business, too, because one thing that, with the accomplishments and stuff I have, it doesn't come if I didn't start working freshman year. Because
Right.
so many people make the mistake that, well, I got time, I'm a freshman, and then you try to start junior year and everything else. I can tell you this. If it's already hard, and I've done all the work since freshman year, it's still going to be hard regardless, because it's very competitive. It's going to be even harder if you literally mess around your freshman year, your sophomore year, then you try to kick it in gear, either junior year or senior year. it's gonna be very challenging because it's like, you know, people think it's just grades, but people are looking at what type of work do you have. If you don't have much of a resume, they're gonna think, well, what in the world were you doing?
Right.
Like what? Like if you have no, you say, well, I can do this, this, and this, or I want to do this, this, and this. But then they ask, okay, what do you have to show for it? And you don't have much to show for it. 9 times out of 10, unless you probably know somebody, that's about the only way that you can really like get to do what you want to do. And so that's the main thing I would tell a freshman is like you gotta start work. Go out and have fun, but you gotta handle your business first and everything. You know, don't get so caught up with people that, you know, and people are gonna call you lame, people are gonna call you all this stuff because you wanna handle your business. Sometimes if you sacrifice going out to certain things because you're like, hey, I gotta do this, or I'm involved with this. Don't listen to them because 2 or 3 years later, they're gonna wish they were you. I deal with that all the time. You know, that's not to throw shade at anybody, that's just the reality. When you start doing well, then people will say, oh, now I see why you did this.
Right.
And I'm just like, well, I tried to get you to do the same thing, but you know, you could consider that being lame because you wanna fit in. And that'd be another thing, don't try to fit a mold. Because God put you on this earth, He put us all on here to be unique. He didn't put us all here to be the same. So that's definitely the two things I would definitely tell a freshman coming in.
Very good. These were all so many great responses. I really appreciate you being here, Sidney. Before we end this interview, I would like to give you the opportunity to shout out any platforms or anything you want to say.
Definitely, as I said, once again, shouting out to Mr. Harold Ford, Mr. Glenn Walker, Ms. Kimia Clements, Ms. Valerie Whitney. Oh my God, she's gonna kill me for that. You know, definitely, you know, shout out to Culture Show, shout out to all the mass comm people, you know, to definitely Leviticus, to Kennedy, to you know, just everybody that works very hard in this department. I mean, that's who I'm gonna shout out because I mean, I see y'all been doing a lot of work and everything else. I may be here, I may be gone all the time, but I like seeing what's coming. You know, I like seeing the things that are, the mass comm is in good hands as we move forward. You know, I think, you know, my time is obviously coming to an end being here in college, but the people that are coming up behind me, I'm very proud. And that's, you know, that's who I want to shout out to y'all.
Okay, well, thank you, Sidney, so much for joining us. Once again, congratulations on being an upcoming graduate, and thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us today. And thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, I'm Sanaya, and this is Culture Soul.
Thank you.